next Earth tale I'm going to share takes place much closer to home and is likely more familiar to you. This story from the Comanche Nation is called She Who Is Alone. No mother, no father. The famine had taken the girl's whole family. The people of the camp, the Comanche, cared for her and named her. They called her She Who Is Alone. Since the famine, her only friend was her little buckskin doll. Her father had saved the softest hide to make the doll's body. Her mother had painted on the eyes and mouth with a dye made from berries. Her mother had even used her own hair to make the doll's long black braids. And in her hair, the doll had a beautiful, bright blue feather. Every new spring moon, She Who Was Alone watched as the Comanche people would dance, singing and praying to the Great Spirit to send the life-giving rains. But this year, the rains had not come. Plants wilted, rivers dried up, the land cracked. Hunters returned without buffalo, and many people died. So the wisest elder went up to the high hilltop. "Great Spirit," he said, "the land is dying. Your people are dying. Tell us what we have done wrong. Tell us what we must do to bring back the rain." Then he sat on that high hilltop all night, waiting for the answer to come from the Great Spirit. As the sun came up the next morning, the elder returned, and the people gathered round. He said, "The Great Spirit has sent me a vision. Our people have been careless. We have taken and taken from Mother Earth, but we have given nothing in return. This drought is a warning. We must give something back, an offering to the Great Spirit, our most precious possession. We must burn it and scatter the ashes to the four winds. Only then will the rain return." The people looked at each other. "Well, surely it's not my bow that the Great Spirit wants," said a young warrior. "I need it to hunt so that we can eat." "Oh, the Great Spirit doesn't want my blanket," said someone else. "I will freeze without it." "And not my moccasins," said another. "They are too beautiful to burn." The discussion lasted all day. As night fell, people went off to bed with the issue still undecided. And unable to sleep, She Who Was Alone clutched her doll as she lay quietly in her lodge. What could she, a young girl, do for the Great Spirit, she wondered. And then she knew. "You," she said to her doll, "you are my most prized possession." She knew what she had to do. Slipping out into the night, carrying her doll, She Who Was Alone went up to the high hilltop where the elder had had his vision. She gathered twigs and sticks and branches and started a fire. And then she prayed, "Oh, Great Spirit, please help me to be brave. All I have in the world is my doll. She is the most precious thing I can give." And as she sat on that high hilltop, she thought of her people, how they had cared for her and how they were suffering now. And with tears in her eyes, she said, "Oh, Great Spirit, please accept my gift and send us rain again," and dropped her doll into the flames. She watched as the fire accepted and consumed her offering. When the doll had burned up completely and the last of the embers had cooled, She Who Was Alone picked up the ashes and scattered them to the four winds. Then, exhausted, she fell asleep. When she awoke at daybreak, she could hardly believe her eyes. For as far as the eye could see, in every direction from that high hilltop, the land was covered in a sea of blue flowers, the most beautiful blue flowers you've ever seen. They were brilliant, bright blue, just like the feather that had decorated her doll's hair. Looking back to the village, she could see others stirring, also amazed by the sight. And just as she turned to make her way down from the high hilltop, she felt it. A drop on the top of her head. And then another one on her arm. And as she turned her face toward the sky, the clouds opened up and the rain poured down, the life-giving rain, and the land began to heal. A great ceremony was held, and she who was alone was given a new name, which the elders called out to the four winds. They called it out to the sky and to the earth. From that day on, she was called, She Who Loves Her People. And every new spring moon, the Great Spirit remembers the gift of that little girl and fills the land with bright blue flowers as far as the eye can see. So let's pause again. Let's reflect. Let's be curious. What does this story make you wonder about? I wonder what I can sacrifice for the good of our shared world. Can I give up single-use disposables like straws and grocery bags and coffee cups? They're certainly not as precious as the doll, but I use them pretty frequently. I wonder how I can give to the earth rather than taking from it. What do you wonder?
Laura Teresa Marquez said, "From deep within,